They're off. The start of the 1965 Daily Express International Offshore Powerboat Race. 51 souped-up machines, hell-bent for leather on a 198-mile course from Cowes to Torquay. 51 powerboats, big boats, smaller boats, boats from several countries. Drivers and crews with two aims. First, to finish the grueling, crippling course which has made this event a classic. Second, to win at least one of the 14 trophies and prizes, just waiting those 198 miles away in Torquay. This is the course. The boats head westwards down the Solent from Cowes, turn round two buoys, head back past Cowes, round via Ventnor and the Nab Tower, back past Cowes, then on down to Torquay. Waiting to see the leaders past that first buoy, just over 3 miles from Cowes, Bill Richardson.
Literally hurtling towards me across the Solent today are thousands of pounds worth of machinery, men and boats. Leading the race at the moment is Jim Wynne, Brave Moppy, Sir Fury, Jackie S, Mr. Higgins in 330, 111, Sir Fury in the lead now, Dick Bertram 177 close behind him, and Jim Wynne in the Maritime Alliance 115. Helicopters, aircraft, all within feet of these leading boats as they go around the Westleaf buoy at the start of this race. There's Sir Fury around the race, the buoy first, followed by Dick Bertram, see you there, 177, and Jim Wynne, bearded Jim Wynne in the Maritime Alliance behind him. Higgins running very quietly there and very fast, did very well in the Miami-Nassau race earlier on this year. Behind him, one of the American entries.
Let's watch the boats as they take that first buoy. Incredibly, even at this very early stage of the race, the boats are already beginning to separate. The rough, tough conditions are already splitting up the men from the boys. Round the second buoy, and the fight is really beginning to warm up. A fight not only between the drivers, but between petrol and diesel engine boats. At this stage of the race, two boats are clear of the field. Sir Fury with last year's winners, brothers Charles and Richard Gardner at the controls, and Brave Moppy, owned and driven by American Dick Bertram. Back to Cowes on the closing stage of this opening 8-mile section, and there are the leaders. Number 555, a British boat driven by Ron Watts, going well here, but unfortunately not among the winners. And number 212, another British boat, Fast Lady, owned and driven by M.G. Hardy. But on this occasion, this Fast Lady just simply wasn't quite fast enough. But the boats are leaping through the water in tremendous fashion. For thrills and spills, conditions just couldn't be better. There go the leaders into Cowes, and it's Sir Fury, the boat with the incredible paper knife shape, closely tailed by America's Brave Moppy. As they flash past Cowes on the way to Ventnor, Sir Fury and Brave Moppy are already shaping up a healthy-looking lead. Speeds are tremendous. Bertram's Moppy averaged 40 miles an hour, and at one time topped 57.7 miles an hour, a world record for a diesel boat. All the time, memories of this race last year were flashing through Bertram's mind. On that sad day, he took the wrong mark right at the end of the race, and was beaten into second place by the Gardner brothers. Revenge, they say, is sweet. And Bertram, as everyone now knows, had his revenge this year when he won the race and the Beaverbrook Trophy. Jackie S, driven by Dr. Issa Vandra from Ceylon, but she had troubles. There's 007, Lucy 2, which is driven in true James Bond style by jockey Billy Shand Kidd. Despite engine troubles and an hour-and-a-half delay, Shand Kidd drove 007 over the line in 8th place. A brilliant achievement. Now they're heading towards Ventnor. America's Broad Jumper, which took 9th place after some superb work by her crew of 3, the Wisnick brothers and D. Miller. Britain's Alto Volante going well. And there they go round the Ventnor mark on the way to the Nab Tower. Southerner, Southern Independent Television's outside broadcast vessel, covered the start and finish of the race. Further coverage came from cameramen in 2 planes and 2 other boats. And there's the boat which finally finished second, America's Thunderbird, owned and driven by Merrick Lewis. And there's Blue Moppy, one of Dick Bertram's Moppy family, driven by Kay Schellenberg. She didn't have quite the same luck as her sister boat. Number 666, Broad Jumper again, but trouble here for one boat. The casualty list was heavy and many boats simply failed to complete the course. But still more were living to fight out some more hectic moments. But by now, brave Moppy was making it quite obvious that nothing, barring accidents, was going to stop her. Sir Fury was right behind until the engine troubles, which put her into 3rd place. Meanwhile, Southerner was making straight for Torquay to be ready for the finish. Here she's passing Portland Bill and making great time, even by powerboat standards. And the powerboats themselves were thrashing their way towards the Needles. There's Broad Jumper again, and Britain's Thunderfish with A.G. Figgins driving. And Alto Volante again, striving to catch up the leaders, who by this time had flashed way past the Needles with a good half-mile lead. And sidetracking a minute, I reckon those Needles lighthouse men had just about the best view of the lot. Can anyone still argue that this is just about the world's most exhilarating sport? Alto Volante yet again, this time past the Needles and heading for the open sea and the really tortuous part of the race. But trouble was to follow for Alto Volante, and she failed to finish. One of many sad stories that happen every year in this race. 007 Lucy 2 in the Needles area, last of 44 boats after her troubles. But she made a fine recovery, and despite having made a technically illegal stop at Hamble, the organisers decided her effort had been so great, she was presented with her plaque for finishing. Meanwhile, the leaders, Brave Moppy and Sir Fury, had officially gone half a mile in front of the rest of the field, and there seemed to be no catching them. It was simply a case of which one of these two would flag first, and it turned out to be Sir Fury. In fact, this was 49-year-old Dick Bertram's first win in this race, and Brave Moppy was the first diesel boat to win the race outright. At this stage, America's Thunderbird, which finished second, was some way behind. But on dry land, trouble for one of Southern Television's 2 airborne cameramen, Joe Hardy. The plane he was flying in had to make a forced landing and was quite extensively damaged. Hardy and the crew were unhurt. This left us with 1 cameraman still airborne, Stanley Breo. But, crash or not, Hardy brought back intact the film he had shot. Meanwhile, at Torquay, hundreds of people crowded the harbour entrance, waiting to see the boats thunder home. It had been a long wait, but a well worthwhile one. For the end of the race as it happened, Bill Richardson.
Into the finishing line. Well, this is a very exciting finish here, the 1965 Powerboat race. We've got Dick Bertram with his twin 600 horsepower GM turbocharged diesels, now within 400 yards of the finish. After very nearly getting the wrong side of the mark over by Paynton, he's now getting absolutely flat out. Something in the region of 2,800 RPM on the clocks at the moment. Both engines going beautifully in this wonderful boat, fully justified by all the years that he's been doing this race. His fifth attempt, originally with Glass Moppy, then Blue Moppy, then Lucky Moppy, and now with Brave Moppy. Moppy, named after his wife Pauline, for when she was a young kid, she had a great mop of hair. As he comes thundering into the finishing line, again, he's now on the right line, right across the line. He's going to finish now in any seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Dick Bertram is over the line, and the winner of the 1965 Daily Express Powerboat race. Immediately after Brave Moppy, we've got 283, one of the smaller American entries, a Donzi, a 23-footer, driven by Merrick Lewis, and with Peter Twiss, who already holds one of the world air speed records, coming in second. Fine little boat. She came out for the Via Reggio Bastia race in Italy about 2 months ago, and she came over here with 2 engines which had to be replaced, and now they're coming in across the line now. About 3 or 4 seconds to go. She's across.
Finally, I spoke to the winner, Dick Bertram.
Dick, many congratulations. Bearing in mind last year's sad defeat at the very end, what did it feel like to win this year?
Oh, well, Fred, it just feels so good I can hardly describe it. I never felt better in my life. Tremendous thrill. This course, the conditions that you encounter are so diverse, interesting, tremendous competition, all the great drivers, and we feel very lucky.
You seem to be having some trouble, Dick, out in the harbor. What was going on there?
Fred, I don't know just what you mean.
You appear to double back at one stage.
Oh, the compass was a little slow coming around in the turn. We just overturned a little bit, but it was no trouble.
At what stage in the race did you feel you might have a good chance of winning?
Well, I don't like to sound conceited, but I felt that if something didn't break down, I didn't see how we could be beaten because this boat is so fantastically good in rough water. I don't think there's anything that will stay with her in rough water.